Hi guys! So, this is exciting. Today I'm going to talk to you about my story. And I wanted to not just talk to you about my relationship, like with my significant other, but the relationships between my friends and I, my family and I, and also myself. So, let's get started. So I'll start in 2014. In September, I got engaged, and I was so happy. Like, he was my best friend, and at the time, we've been going out for 6 years, and it was just really happy and exciting for me that, my future, of having a family and being together and having different experiences together was, actually happening. So, during this process, of having a wedding, you're planning and asking, like, your best friends, do you want to be my maid of honor? And, your other friends, like, do you want to be my bridesmaid? So this whole process was going on, and this is when my relationships with my friends shifted, and I actually became aware of the relationship that I had with each of my friends. It became as though it was a one-sided relationship, and that I would do anything in my power to do anything for them because I really cared for them. I loved them. They were my friends. And it wasn't reciprocated on the other end. And that was really hard for me to deal with, especially going through a wedding. You always think of that Cinderella wedding and the whole process of you and your friends, like, going out, enjoying one another, and enjoying, making things and having sleepovers and going to the spa together. And that didn't happen for me. It was more of like the movie Bridesmaids. So, yeah, a lot of people think like the whole wedding process is really stressful, but for me, it was actually realizing who my friends really were, and that put a different emotional stress on me. So, in July of 2015, I got married to my best friend, and it was the most magical day ever. And I might be biased, but it really truly was. I really felt like this was the beginning of forever. And then we went on our honeymoon. It was beautiful. It was in Hawaii, and we just de-stressed from everything. There wasn't any distractions, and we can just chill and hang out, and it was really once in a lifetime. So we came home little bit, and I think it was like the first week in August, and that's when my relationship shifted with my husband. He became very angry when he was coming home from work, so I didn't know what was going on. I thought something was happening at work, so I was just backing off a little bit and giving him his space because he really didn't want to talk about it. And then, this happened over a week. And then after a week, it became more and more and more. And he just kept on being very angry towards me and putting everything on me. And I was like, I am newly married. What is going on? I shouldn't have to deal with this. So I actually left for about 3 days. And during that time, I really wanted him to just focus on him and what was bothering him, and see if he would be able to talk to me about it, because we're in this together. So I went back, and for the next couple of months, it was the same old thing, like getting into fights and having a lot of anger issues and becoming like destructive within the house and our materials. And I was going emotionally crazy. I was taking baths like twice a day because I just could not function. I was so exhausted, like mentally, emotionally, physically. And during that point, I was also laid off from my job. And then the following week, I took another job for the state and was going to be starting that in January of 2016. So during the month of December, I was around the house, doing what I needed to do. And my relationship with my husband became even worse. The fights became, more consistent. And I remember it was December 17th, and it became a relationship that wasn't just the emotional abuse, it became physical abuse, and I became really scared. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't even know what abuse was. And so I went to a friend. She was a social worker. She worked with these type of people, and she was like, oh, no, he's not that person. He could never do that to you. And so I felt really like isolated, alone, confused, and I felt crazy. Like, I knew what I was feeling and I knew what was going on, but why wasn't anybody listening to me? So in January, I went to, my job for the state, and it actually was in the prison system. And I became having like a lot more of anxiety, not just because of my relationship with my husband, but also at work. It became an unsafe environment there. There were shootings all the time. There was dealing with all these prisoners all the time, and it was just crazy. So today is the day that I actually said, enough, no more. I am not having this anymore. I'm not, I'm choosing myself. It's not worth the anxiety. So I quit my job. And the next day, my husband and I got into another fight. And at that point, I couldn't take it anymore. And I said that I wanted a divorce. And to be honest, I never thought that would ever come out of my mouth, because that was really a strong point for me, is especially traditionally growing up in an Italian family, like, you don't get divorced, you don't get married and then get divorced, especially like 6 months after you just got married. Like, what is going on? But I was so exhausted, and we were thinking about having children, and I couldn't bring children into this environment. I couldn't even function, let alone other people. So, he just didn't really take it seriously. So I knew it was serious when I pulled up to my parents' driveway and just broke down. That was the hardest part of this whole thing, was facing like my parents and telling them, like, what is going on, that I am divorcing my husband after 7 months, and the reasonings why. And they knew something was going on, but they weren't sure. And I didn't want to tell them until I knew 100%. So, we tried counseling, we still continued doing counseling during this process, and it was the second week in February, and I decided to go to Hippocrates Health Institute in Florida. And it was initially just for my physical transformation, because you guys all know that I've been dealing with, overgrowth of candida, like hormonal issues, just weight issues, like crazy. So that's what I was really going there for. And little did I know that I was going there for an emotional transformation as well. So when I went there, I obtained all this support from all these different people that I didn't even know. Telling my story was so relieving, and I felt so free. Like, I didn't know I felt this way within my relationship. It was like I was in prison. Like, I felt like I, was trapped. So having this feeling was amazing. It was new for me. And it was just like the beginning of knowing who I truly am, because I really forgot who I am as a person. So, there was information that came about after, I said that I wanted a divorce, and that I dealt with through the whole process, but it's not my place to say it to you. But it was really hard for me to deal with that as well, on top of the divorce, and emotionally. So when I got back from Florida, I was on a high. I was having the time of my life, and I really was embracing every single minute of it. And then I come back to this same old, like, prison trapped feeling, and not knowing what to do, because, our mutual friends were coming to me, and even my family, like, isn't there a chance you can work it out? Like, go to more counseling. Like, he really thinks that he's changed. I had to be strong, because, like, in that moment, I felt so alone, and it just showed me how manipulative some people can be. And I just really thought to myself, like, you need to be strong. You know how you feel, and, keep going. Do this for yourself. Choose you. So, during the next couple of months, we thought that we could live in the same household together, and that was not the case. It actually turned out to be that I, had to leave, like, during the day, and just, like, on a whim. And I remember my dad pulling up with his truck and my car, and just, like, throwing everything into the back of these vehicles. And it's like, what just happened? Like, it's been 7 months, and look what's going on. Like, I had no idea what was going on. I didn't know how to act. I didn't know how to feel. So it was really scary for me, and I really didn't have a lot of people to talk to it about. I removed my friends from my life. I had a couple of friends that were still there, and really helped and supported me, and I'm really thankful for them. But I really felt alone in this, because I didn't have anybody that went through the same thing. So anyways, I went back to my parents' house, and going back there, that's hard enough, going back when you're 30 years old, living with your parents again, in the basement with your dog, is kind of crazy. But I needed it, and I'm so thankful that I have them, because without that, I don't know how I would have gotten through this. Like, I needed that space. I needed that time for myself emotionally to get through this whole process. Like, I needed to process everything. I needed to think about everything. I was going back and forth, like, and I was even blaming him, for, moving my capability of having a family. And that was really hard on me, because I do want to have kids. Like, I want to have a family, and I thought that he ruined that for me, so I blamed him for that. And I had to go through that whole process of really seeing, what happened in the relationship, why it happened, and now, now you have to learn about yourself, Jamie. You need to see what you want, who you are as a person. So, during those months, like, I had to fight for myself. Not only fighting for myself, you know, against my husband, but against our mutual friends, my friends, my family. And, you know, at this time I was going through the court system of, you know, fighting for myself because of my job, and getting that. So I was really fighting for myself on all levels in 2016. And of course, this was emotionally draining for me. I was going crazy. And so I really needed to start with the basics of learning to love every single part of myself. The part that was blaming my husband, you know, for not giving me children, or the part of, you know, marrying him and not knowing like what was going to happen, and even like the good parts of like removing myself from this situation and choosing me, you know. So you really have to get to know all of you and really embrace all of it, because it really is beautiful. Every single aspect of you is beautiful, and there's a reason for it. So I had to accept and forgive myself. And that's really the process that I went through in 2016, was doing that. And, you know, I talked to my friends and, you know, my family and my clients, and this is a huge deal with people, especially women. You know, they put a lot of other people in front of themselves, and they don't take care of themselves, or they don't, you know, allow time for themselves. So you know, people ask me, you know, what did you do? You know, you're so confident now. Like, what happened? What is the process you went through? So I developed a guide for you guys, and it's really just a foundation, but it's a 14-day guide, and it's really to embrace your beauty, and it's to love yourself unapologetically, so that you don't feel guilty about, you know, loving yourself or giving yourself time away from like your family or your friends, or just, you know, the chaos. So this is why I developed this guide, to help you. It's 14 days, and it takes you step by step. It's only 5 to 10 minutes a day, so there is no excuse not to do it. If you are a person that has excuses and doesn't want to do it, this is not for you. So it's a 14-day guide, and each day you're instructed to do different things for yourself, but it's really getting to know you and truly who you are, and creating yourself who you want to be, and not who you think you should be, or how other people perceive you, or other people's opinions about you at all. So the 14-day guide, I am putting it on pre-order right now for $17 until February 1st. And when February 1st happens, then the price is going to go up to $27. So really, if you want the guide, please pre-order it, so you don't have to pay the extra $10. So if you would like the guide, just hit the sign up button above on my Facebook page, or you can go to my website at www.thebalancedroot.com, and you can pay for it there, and you should get it shortly. So yeah, that was my story. Thank you guys for supporting me in so much. I could not do it without you. And I'm looking forward to this journey of life, you know, the future. It's going to be amazing. And if you guys have any questions, or you want any help, just reach out to me. That's why I'm here. That's why I coach, is to, remove the emotional blockages that you have within your life and get down to the source of what it actually is causing it. So reach out to me, get your 14-day guide, and yeah, I'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.